Hey, Pizza Pony!
Hello! Welcome to Pie's Pizza! Hey, Tricky, what's up? Come for a refill?
Well, I was about to eat the pizza I ordered, only to realize that my pepperoni pizza lacks any actual salami! What the hell, man? A fox needs his meat, goddammit!
Okay, first of all, hi. Nice to see you too, Sunshine. Second, pepperoni and salami are two different things. I'm pretty sure. And thirdly, and you might want to pay attention to this part, it ain't my fault your carnivore-omnivore license expired 3 seconds after you first walked through that door. That sounds a little contrived, but we wouldn't have a plot if it didn't happen.
Oh great, we are not even a minute into a video and you are already breaking the fourth wall. Don't you have any manners? Also, according to Wikipedia, pepperoni is simply an American variant of salami.
I did not know the things about pepperonskis. Also, it's genetic! I'm pretty sure I have a medical condition where if I don't break the fourth wall, I die a horrible, agonizing death! Either that, or it means it's a Pinky episode today.
So, if we are breaking the fourth wall anyway, wanna cut the crap and just get started on the collabs then?
Can't think of a reason not to.
So, a Pinkie Pie episode. What's your relation to her again? Sibling, cousin, great uncle?
Yes.
Okay, that's not how the joke goes, and I don't like the implication.
Have you seen the Pie family tree? It was shredded 8 times with rocks and party cannons! And safety scissors! Anyways, so Pinky gets an invite from her old buddy, rival, possible lover, Cheese Al Yankovic. Sandwich. To come see his new gag factory.
And that's a pretty decent setup. So I'm not quite sure what the whole Pinky needs to find her purpose in life thing is needed for. First of all, Pinky's purpose to make people laugh has always been rather obvious. She had at least 2 songs about it.
Thing about that is, I believe that even if you got the perfect setup, sometimes you're gonna backpedal a little and question if what you're doing and contributing to life is really fulfilling. I mean, like she said, all her friends are moving on to these bigger picture things. Except Applejack, who apparently had her shit together since day one. So she kinda wants her own Wonderbolts, her own boutiques, etc.
You know, that's a good point. But I have one question for you.
And that question is...
how relevant is Pinky's supposed meltdown for this episode? Does it affect the plot in any shape or form, or could you cut it out without losing anything?
Yeah, okay, admittedly it does kinda fizzle out once Cheese's main issue comes to light. But it also kind of reflects Cheese's issues in a way. Cheese has lost sight of what gets him out of bed in the morning, and what gives him a reason to guffaw, whereas Pinky's lost sight of what her true purpose is. So in a way, it kind of turns into a helping each other out story that shows that they're 2 sides of the same coin.
That is how it should be in theory, but the entire subplot is completely dropped and isn't really addressed again until the end of the episode, save for one passing mention. Pinky didn't need any extra motivation to go to see Cheese. The invitation is more than enough. As such, this so-called conflict seems rather forced. Now, if you were to rewrite the opening scene a bit, I think it could work. Like for example, instead of Pinky discussing it with her friends, you could show her being depressed talking to Gummy about her motivation, until finally being cheered up when she gets the invitation from Cheese, or have Pinky actively seek Cheese Sandwich out, instead of being invited. Then it would at least tie into each other, rather than simply being tagged on.
Okay, I'll give you that. The episode could have gone without the whole inner purpose thing, but let's not forget, MLP's notorious for inserting unnecessary elements into episodes. Just a matter of how gracefully you shove an element into a plot.
Sadly, yeah. Though admittedly it's hard worth getting upset about it, considering what a minor part of this episode it is. What I think is worse though, is that the joke throughout the episode simply aren't that funny. Part of that is of course that we hardly get a reaction from the ponies in this episode. The conflict is that Cheese Sandwich lost his love after all, while Sun's smirk isn't really expressive. Jokes in a comedy tend to come off more as awkward when the characters don't show a reaction, unless a joke is that no one shows a reaction, of course. But it goes down further. The gag item smirk shows to Pinky are your run-of-the-mill gag props, not very imaginative. And then a good chunk of the jokes consist of Pinkie Pie suggesting improvements, but they all work the same. Basically, the items cause the opposite of what they are supposed to do.
That actually can be funny if used right. comedy and the unexpected and all that. Like you go to smell a pretty flower, but instead of water, you got a boxing glove to the face! It's all in misdirection. And as far as the run-of-the-mill gag items go, yeah, they're all pretty much classics, but Pinky's known to have a simple taste in humor. The episode even states that she laughs at everything, so it's not too surprising.
But that's sort of the thing. Pinkie Pie suggests the unexpected, but we don't see any of it. The joke boils down to, wouldn't it be funny, which is not really a joke.
Sadly, I don't think any of Pinky's suggestions, unexpected or not, were gonna fly. The only way to get Cheese to laugh was to see other ponies laughing first. Even the slightest snicker was what really snapped him out of his funk.
Besides that, the episode sorta suffers through its conflict. Cheese Sandwich lost his laugh because he needs to see how he makes people laugh. I can understand that much. It is hard to stay motivated when you can't see any feedback. I love to see that people like my videos, for example, otherwise it always feels rather empty and that I'm only going through the motions, which makes it hard to get motivated myself for the next one. But I think that's only a part of the problem. While the episode itself says that comedy is not an exact science and that it is impossible to account for everything, that is in the end still what Smirk does. Breaking down jokes in technical terms. You know what they say? That explaining a joke makes it less funny? Yeah, that's basically what happens to Cheese here on a large scale. Smirk has no ill intentions, but since he breaks down the elements of a joke and tries to improve them, it has the same effect. It takes away the spontaneous aspect of comedy and makes it completely technical.
So, is now a bad time to mention that he has a wet blanket cutie mark?
It would probably seem out of place to mention that wet blanket anywhere else in this video, but yeah, that's sort of the problem. While he doesn't outright explain the jokes to the audience, his reactions to everything funny boils down to stating, that's funny. Though to counter my own point, I think the one time where they actually explain how comedy works by bringing up the rule of 3 is probably one of the better jokes in this episode.
Okay, yeah, the comedy wasn't on point. But in a way, that was kind of the point. The world has literally become gray around Cheese, and the slightest bit of laughter finally brings some color into his Willy Wonka-esque existence. The minute the little bit of hope shines in, we finally get to see that spark of energy Cheese is known for. He sings, he dances, he goes full Pagliacci! So in a way, the lack of effective humor up to that point kinda helped with the ambience the episode was aiming for with Cheese's little crisis. Yeah, I could have hit better notes with the comedy, but that wouldn't have helped with the message.
Well, that's always a difficult part, isn't it? If the point of an episode about comedy is to be not funny, it sort of runs into the risk of being boring. And yeah, frankly, that's a major gripe I have with this episode. It's a Pinkie Pie episode with weird Al Yankovic. I can appreciate what they were trying to do, but goddammit, when I see Cheese Sandwich, I expect to laugh and not to sit through a slop of an episode. Speaking of which, that kinda the next thing, everyone was looking forward to Cheese Sandwich's eventual return. And then we get an episode which, while it is about him, barely has any Cheese Sandwich in it, as Pinkie Pie mostly spends time with Smirk. It just feels a bit disappointing from the outset.
Unfortunately, some guest stars are handled more gracefully than others. SpongeBob had the Clown Prince of Crime in their show once, and they wasted literally every opportunity spoon-fed to them!
You think that's bad? Remember when they did a music episode with David Bowie and he was the only one who didn't sing?
Hush! That special never happened in this dojo! But more to the point, guest stars are a tricky thing to work with.
Hey, don't put the blame on me.
Oh, why do you have to have such a punny name? In any case, yeah, Pinky and Cheese interacting more would have been a blessing. But the way I see it, it's a little more interaction than they got in Cheese's first episode, where Pinky and Cheese didn't properly confront each other until halfway through. Also, I kinda want to go back to what you said about the episode not being funny. I don't think it was meant to be a pure comedy episode. It felt more like a dramedy. Kinda almost reminded me of Mary and Max in a way. Cause when you're going through an existential crisis or a burnout, the world is gonna seem a little gray and not that funny. And I feel like this episode hit all the right notes with that feeling. I don't know, maybe it's because I go through bits of burnout more frequently lately, but I could identify a lot with this episode. Yeah, it's not the best, but it's nowhere near the worst to me.
It's certainly not the worst, and maybe I'm really just disappointed because I wanted to see more of Cheese Sandwich, the true savior of Equestria. And I noticed that he actually saves the day in the MLP movie. If it wasn't for his party cannon, they all would have been screwed.
Again, another missed opportunity for the MLP movie! Screw Grubber or the friggin' pirates, they should have had Cheese be one of the star players of the film!
Hard to argue there, but yeah, I think the dramatic aspect of this episode doesn't quite work. If they had put more emphasis on Pinky's conflict, maybe, but as it is simply didn't resonate with me and I was mostly bored. But hey, that Weird Al song at the end was fun like always. That man can sing anything and it sounds funny.
At least we can say we got to hear Weird Al in a dramatic role. Especially after you hear him as Darkseid.
Say about Teen Titans Go whatever you will, but his Darkseid is hilarious. They should cast him to play that role in the DCEU, but I guess this is a good point to wrap things up.
Yee! Overall I liked the episode, but it could have used a little more spice.
Yeah, I think a lack of spice is the best way to describe this episode. It simply could need a bit more energy. But hey, in the end, it's rather harmless, and even though I am somewhat disappointed, I have to say it was just nice to see Cheese Sandwich again.
And now, to wrap up this little show, care to smell my lovely flower?
Why not? What could possibly go wrong?
See? Comedy in the unexpected!
Huh. Classic.
Sly as a fox, you got me under your spell. But you know I'll never tell that I know you know so well.